Let me show you where to go. If you wanna know, take it really slow. Would be when you close the door and you want some more on the floor. You're invited to get excited. Your seduction. Any questions? I want you to on me. Lose control. I want you to love me. Lose control. Take your time, baby, move real slow. Don't have to rush, you ain't gotta go. I love the way that you turn me on. Drive me crazy, make me lose control. I'm guilty, 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 guilty. Me down, be my dude. Twerking on that pole, rub it, baby, blow. Hit me as you pull up on me more. Show you what it's for. On the floor. You're invited to get excited. Your seduction. Any questions? I want you to on me. Lose control. I want you to love me. Lose control. Take your time, baby, move real slow. Don't have to rush, you ain't gotta go. I love the way that you turn me on. Drive me crazy, make me lose control. I'm guilty, 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 guilty. Show you how I like it, show you how I like it, show you how. Show you how I like it, show you how I like it, show you how. Show you how I like it, show you how I like it, show you how. Show you how I like it, show you how I like it, show you how. Take your time, baby, move real slow. Don't have to rush, you ain't gotta go. I love the way that you turn me on. Drive me crazy, make me lose control. I'm guilty, 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 guilty.
Raps I stay cool with, who you cool with. Run up in your spot, take your girl with this cool stick. Raps I stay cool with, who you cool with. Run up in your spot, take your girl with this cool stick. Raps I stay cool with, who you cool with. Run up in your spot, take your girl with this cool stick. Raps I stay cool with, who you cool with. Run up in your spot, take your girl with this cool stick.
All right, what's up, everybody? 7 o'clock, so you already know what time it is. It's time for the Random Talking Indie Music Show, powered by Stationhead, brought to you by Woodworks Entertainment, and also in conjunction with Live from 805 Podcast and Minx Radio. I'm your girl 759. I was gone for a minute, but I am indeed back with the jump off. I want to apologize for my absence. You know, your girl got a cold, so I'm not 100%, but you know, I got to do a show today. So I want to take the time to thank everybody for tuning in on all platforms. I'm live on Periscope. I'm live on Periscope, D-Live, Twitch, and YouTube. All of my links on this little description box to your left or your right, whichever way you're looking at it. I also got my Cash App down there because, you know, if you feel a little generous, you know, I can feel a little receptive. So
She said, I feel a little receptive to that.
Yeah, I can feel a little receptive. Reciprocity, you know, I'm all about that. So I'm here with my co-host, you know what I'm saying? The Bronx Bully, Minx Couture, Minx Contour, Minx Cooter. Call it whatever you want to call it. Just don't
Yo, you
call it a
just keep
copycat.
upgrading.
You doggone right. I gotta give you your introduction every single time. Do you dig?
She said the Bronx
The
bully.
Bronx Bully. That should have been your damn rap name for real. That should have been it.
Shit. You
But
damn right, man. What was I thinking?
what was you think? Well, I like Minx. Minx, it kind of fits your. It's like a mystique to it. You know what I mean? I kind of like that anyway. So.
Shout out to DJ Baby Doll. She's been hanging out for a minute right now.
Oh really? Where you at?
Yeah, she's in the chat.
Oh, what's up? Is she on here?
Yeah. Yeah, see, yeah, she's tuned in.
Oh,
DJ Baby Doll.
I don't see her, but hey, what's up? I know I see three people on here, but I don't see anybody on the window here. But hey, what's up?
Oh,
I don't know what
must be
that's.
time for an update again.
I ain't look, listen. I ain't got time for all of that. Jesus. But anyway,
For real.
uh,
For real.
so how you been doing?
Well, damn.
How you been doing, Blue? That's how you
That
been
was my
doing.
oh yeah, yeah, that's my Facebook. I've been good. Just my spirit is a little shaken, but that's about it.
Yeah, it's been a lot going on. I'm gonna tell you Monday. We gonna go ahead and get this out the way. Monday, my cousin's girlfriend was calling me. We was arranging for our trip in May, and we was so excited about that. And then my cousin walks in and says, "Hey, did you hear Kobe died in a helicopter accident?" And I heard her in the back. And so
Mm,
her girlfriend was like, "What?" I said, "Wait, did I hear that right?" And she was like, "Yeah." So we hurry up. We go ahead and finish what we were going to discuss anyway. And then I hurry up, and it's all over Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, everywhere. And it just seems so weird to hear that, in a sentence, because he was due to be up for his Hall of Fame induction this year, which he will be inducted anyway. But
yeah,
yeah, it was just kind of weird to see that all over TV and all over social media. It's the same thing like Whitney and Mike and all of those celebrities, but this one kind of hit people a little different. So on that note, I mean, condolences and positive vibes to the Bryant family, his wife Vanessa, and his three remaining children. Yeah, that's just some weird, crazy stuff right there. I'm a Celtics fan. I've been a Celtics fan for since I was a little kid. So naturally, the Lakers, are your rivals. And so
yeah,
as I was getting older, I saw that Kobe was making his moves in the NBA, and it was just the way he played. I wasn't a fan. And I was like, yo, he's such a ball hog. He's this, that, and the third. But there's one thing you can never take away. His sportsmanship, his willingness to win at all costs, and he's one of the best players in the league. So you got to give him that. So yeah, Kobe, 41 years old, which is nuts. But
yeah,
I
man.
didn't want to spend too much time on that because people are still it hits people differently. I haven't been bummed out or crying or nothing, but it's just I can't escape it. It's all over.
Yeah,
And
yeah. I
but
mean, I would say the only thing I think it really hit I would say the spiritual community a lot
mm-hmm.
um because we all feel differently, and that's the first time I actually just like sat there and I said to myself, that first of all, I was getting a lot of Aaliyah vibes with this. Like I felt like just something wasn't right. I'm not even going to get into the conspiracy theories and shit like that. I got my own platform for that, but um I'm just going to say like I'm a little bit upset with TMZ.
Yeah,
I
most
feel like
definitely, most definitely.
I, yeah, that they just have such a tacky I think they just have such a tacky platform. I don't think that anybody should find out that they lost a loved one, or there's a possibility they may have lost a loved one through these channels. I mean, the rule of thumb is that you got to wait for, first of all, you got to wait for the coroner to make that assessment. They got to make the call.
Right.
You know,
And the
you
police
can't
have to
just go
identify the
and
body, right?
yeah, and more importantly, the family has to identify the family and excuse me, identify their loved one. But the fact that TMZ just took it upon themselves to break news like that,
Yeah,
like it
that
leaves you
was
to say, what is how far will news outlets go to get a story, to get that clickbait, because
hmm
celebrities, they died through hoaxes all the time.
yeah, they've
So
killed off Bill Cosby like 4 or 5 times. Like, dude,
yeah.
you know.
But, again, like I said, there's a time and a place for everything. Like, I understand the conscious community is like, yo, this is weird, this is this. But it's like, you got to let people overcome the shock first before you start hitting them with this pertinent information.
Right.
And plus, everybody is not really woke like that. So you look like a hater at the end of the day when you're trying to expose what your beliefs are. I'm on that same level with these conscious folks, but you just got to bow out gracefully and let people do their own research.
Yeah.
But yeah, they just really, it really rocked my spirit. Like I felt like damn, like again, like we just had a new year. Now we're starting a new year on a
Starting it
terrible
off
note.
already.
Yeah.
Yeah, it never fails. January for the past 2 years was like always that was the, I don't want to call it this, but it was like the month for death. It seemed like everybody was passing away in January or February, with the exception of Prince and Michael Jackson. Everybody else was like what's going on in January? For a couple of years, it was just a succession. Everybody was just going left and right. It was like, okay, what is going on? You had David Bowie and Whitney. You
Hmm.
had a couple more, in that span. It was like between December of 2017 and 2019. That was like a weird. That was a weird shift right there, and like it was just celebrities left and right, just people you wouldn't expect, you know, especially Prince
Yeah,
like
because
that,
that's
because Prince shocked me. Like I had no idea what was going on. I remember they were saying he was having hip issues. He was on tour. He was having hip issues, but they said he, due to his beliefs, he didn't believe in like medicines and things like that, and so he took a different route, to heal himself. So
yeah,
yeah, that blew my
and
mind.
ultimately that shit killed him. But
Yeah.
all I gotta say, to dedicate, to everybody, shout out to Kobe and his family. I hope that y'all overcome this, and well, you'll never forget it. But I
Yeah.
hope that you use this situation for everybody to look at their loved ones and just realize you never know. Like sometimes they say the biggest blessing is to go out and come back home safe.
Mhm.
So, just make sure y'all use these types of situations not to grieve over it so heavy, but to just like let it put your life into perspective that life, it is short. You
Right.
can go outside tomorrow and that'll be it.
Mhm.
So it's just important to just look at the situation. If you're a dad and you ain't got no relationships with your child, your daughters, your sons, like y'all need to try to get into their lives. Like you
Yeah.
got to just be, just use this situation as a way to look at and as a magnifying glass of your own life and see if there's any changes that need to be made, because there
Mhm.
usually are. But you definitely just want to, someone's tragedy can be someone else's miracle, and you have to understand the balance of that in life. So don't harp on it. Don't stay on it. Don't, if you feel depressed, if you feel like, oh, this is too much, go away from social media for a while, go watch some anime or something.
Mhm.
um but just don't let it like become you. Don't let this like take over your life. It's sad, it's really upsetting, but you also have your own shit going on, so you can't just worry about everything else as well. So
Right.
again, shout out to Kobe and his family. I hope that everybody prays and whatever deity, whatever you believe in, just pray for healing. And yeah, that's what I my thoughts are on that.
And it's kind of crazy because I remember I was reading earlier that they said that Kobe and Vanessa had made a deal that she would never, that they would never fly in that helicopter together. Now I read a report that the helicopter that he purchased was like 30 years old, so it didn't come equipped with a black box, which a lot of helicopters apparently. I mean, I know where you're driving that, but apparently
What?
a lot of older choppers aren't required to have black boxes, which is kind of strange to me. Because my thing is, if you shout out to Jonesy, what's up, Jonesy? So my whole thing is, if God forbid something was to happen, they said a fire broke out in the chopper, and it affected everything. Duh. But the whole thing is, in that instance, in that case where you do have an accident, why not have a black box? That way, because they didn't make it far. It was only 45 minutes out, and all of a sudden people were witnessing that the chopper was flying real low, and I guess that's when the fire broke out, and then ultimately the crash. But of course they didn't see a black box. They were able to recover all the bodies, and all, which is good. I guess for closure for the families and all. But yeah, there was no black box.
Yeah, there's something, I mean, really weird about that. And also the fact that they said that Kylie Jenner always rented, or she borrowed. It's so weird with celebrities. They're just like, hey, let me borrow your chopper.
Hey, right.
Uh,
Like, here's the keys.
it's
There you
like,
go. Yeah, right.
yeah, like, yeah, just take this $3 million vehicle. Um,
Yeah, they said the
so they
chopper.
said
They
that.
said the chopper was built in 1991, so it was like old as I don't know what. Carlito28, what's up? Thank you for tuning in. Uh,
Oh, did he tune in?
yeah, I've seen him pop up.
Yeah, that's my baby brother. I put him on to Station Head
Oh, hey,
the
baby
other
brother,
night.
what's up?
Yeah, I said I just tagged him. I was like, hey, what's good? No, but with all of that, it's just very weird. I'm just like, I'm just thankful that you know this will put into a different perspective of what we and how we live life, and it's a shame, but it is what it is. People just have to appreciate their lives, and do the best they can to help others, and all that good stuff. So,
And
you
like
know,
you said, if you have some type of negativity in your circle, you definitely want to get that fixed, because you don't want that person to pass and then you're left with regret for not dealing with whatever was keeping you two apart, or whatever the case might be. You definitely don't want to live your life in regret. So yeah,
right.
fix those
Yeah,
relationships.
don't wait until people are lying lifeless. What do they
Right.
say? Give flowers to the
Give
living.
flowers
Give
while they can
flowers.
smell them.
Yeah,
While they can smell them, most definitely.
exactly.
But we're not gonna stay too much on this, because this is not that type of show. We're gonna
Yeah,
get
because everybody's on, like, been talking about this. I've been on the Station Head streets all week. I
yeah,
mean, all week, for the last couple of days, and I'm like, damn, like, I'm not gonna say y'all can't talk about something else, but I'm gonna say, like,
yeah,
can y'all talk about some positive stuff? Because
yeah. But we're
we,
gonna
we need uplifting.
yeah. But yeah, we just had to cover that real quick, because we haven't been on here for a couple days, and I just had to throw my condolences out there. But on a
With
lighter
that said,
with that said, on a lighter note, my homeboy Jonesy, if you still tuned in, y'all need to peep out his new video. It's called Diamond in the Rough. It's out on YouTube right now. Uh, Hashtag Jonesy on Facebook. You know what I'm saying? He does videography. He does production. He's a dope spitter. Uh, he's. I got a couple of tracks of his on here that I've been playing. Studio and Party. Those my joints. He off his album For What It's Worth. I have the hard copy. Thank you, Jonesy. And yeah, so I'll probably play that later on in the broadcast. Also, speaking of broadcast, we have a PlayStation. I keep saying PlayStation. Do I want a PlayStation? I just got the Xbox One. Do I want a PlayStation? Anyway, we have a Station Head playlist. We have a Station Head playlist. It's on Spotify. It's live. Go ahead and follow my playlist. And please add your music. Or if you plan on doing it the old fashioned way, send me links and I will add you. And also tune in on Minx's playlist, the Gas or Trash playlist.
I got
GOT.
something to say about that playlist.
Uh
Real
oh.
talk.
Uh oh. What's going
I
on
got something to
already?
say about that playlist.
What's going on?
Look, I am so, honestly, like, artists in my head, I'm like, I don't want to hear none of y'all complaining about nobody helping you, because now I'm gonna have to lock down my playlist because y'all don't know, y'all can't follow one simple direction, which is to follow the playlist. That's all you got to
All you
do
gotta
is
do is follow
follow.
it. Exactly.
Yeah. Just follow the playlist. That's it. That's it.
We got the soundboard back. But yeah, please go and subscribe to those two playlists, Gas or Trash. She's got R&B, rap, rock, country. Uh, you asked for it, she probably got it. Uh, and also stream her new song, Vibes, which has been out for a few days now. And it's definitely a vibe. You should have called it Mood.
I was thinking about it. I was thinking about it.
Like mood, period. That's all you
Like
need
mood,
nowadays. Yeah,
mood.
mood.
This is the mood. That
Mood.
might be the next one though.
Yeah. And also Friday nights at 10 o'clock. Tune into the Minx Show podcast on minxradio.com. She also goes live on Facebook if you can catch her when she does some multi streaming. If you guys don't want, you know, don't want to go through the
Also
website.
YouTube because
Are you on
everybody's
YouTube too?
leaving Facebook. Yeah,
Yeah.
everybody's leaving Facebook. At first I was like, I didn't want to go on YouTube, but I was surprised that there was, there's a lot of people that just like, they just like, come by, like they'll see you live and they'll be like, oh, this chick look interesting.
Yeah, I've got
Um,
a. I had gotten an email from YouTube. It wasn't a strike on my channel, but our homeboy, Mr. True Words, uh, I got tapped for his track that I played, and that was that same night we had that superhero issue,
oh
and
yeah,
yeah,
like
and
damn, true.
like really you just gonna hit me like that? But it wasn't a strike, so I can't monetize the video, duh. So all views and monetization and streams go to him. So
Yeah,
it's all
shout out to
good.
True Words.
It's all good. It
True
was a
Words
dope
is
song though.
True Words is definitely a hardworking artist. Like I be giving it, I give him his props. Like he really knows what he's doing. Like I'd be mad though because it's like certain artists that are like, in my opinion, I think they're hot.
Hmm.
I'd be getting mad because I'm like, damn, like you ain't signed yet. Like, oh my gosh,
Like who is not paying attention?
yeah, like that's just give him a record deal. Like I don't even think he wants one anymore because I would be like, you know what,
Forget it.
f all that.
Yeah,
I don't
right.
even like keep it. Just keep it. Like give me my money for my streams, bruh. I don't want
Exactly.
nothing.
Well, now that we're on the subject of of the good old music industry, last night Twitter was ablaze with comments of how they should have canceled the Grammys. I want y'all to understand something. This show takes months up to a year to plan. They spend all the money. They've already got all the talent booked and busy. The last thing they need to do is pull the plug last minute because, and unfortunately, Kobe passed away the day before the Grammys. So did Whitney Houston. But the show must indeed go on. Uh,
Right.
y'all have to understand. You can't just say, "Oh, well, never mind, never mind. Everybody go home. Go back to L.A. Go back to Chicago. Go home. We're sorry, Kobe died. We can't do nothing." You know what I'm saying? They can't just cancel these events. But they did cancel the. I think it's the Lakers. They canceled tonight's game, the Laker game tonight. They did cancel that, which that's a tasteful thing. I do appreciate that. Um, but yeah, the Grammys was on last night, and whew,
I didn't watch it.
I
I don't
don't
watch award
watch it.
shows.
I don't watch
Yeah.
it. But there were a lot of firsts. J. Cole finally got him one after years of proving himself in the industry, having some of the best work out for years, and was constantly getting snubbed. Nipsey got his first Grammy after constantly getting snubbed. But you know what? I always figured that the Grammys weren't for hip hop anyway, but I do appreciate the fact that they have nominated and gave a Grammy to the youngest female reggae artist. I forgot her name, but it's super dope that she won. Tyler the Creator won for for I think it was like best rap song, even though he said his album wasn't a rap album. So
That's how it always seems to work.
yeah, he said this is not a rap album, and then bam. Lizzo won for best. I think she won for best song. Truth Hurts. Ariana Grande. No, no, she got nominated. No, but no, Lizzo won. Anyway, Billie Eilish.
She got nominated.
Yeah, she got nominated.
She got nominated.
Billie Eilish, eyelash. That's what I want to call her so bad. She got 4 Grammys for Album of the Year, Artist of the Year, New Song of the Year, and one other category, Best New Artist.
Mm.
She beat out Black Pumas, Lil Nas X, Lizzo, Rosalia, Yola. It's some it's a lot of unknowns in here.
Um,
Best pop solo performance went to Lizzo. She beat out Beyonce, Billie Eilish, Ariana Grande, and Taylor Swift. Lil Nas X won for Old Town Road, Best Pop Duo. And Best Producer of the Year was some guy named Phineas. Of all the music that came out this year, how did he get Best Producer?
I
Best
don't even know.
Producer
I'm
non
like,
classical. Like, how did he, out of 80 million producers, got the Grammy for Best Producer? I don't get
maybe because he don't make type beats.
it. I mean, it's just crazy that you got Tay Keith. He's been really eating this year. Da got that dope. He's been eating this year. There's you know, a lot of mainstream producers that's been out here doing their thing. I mean, running, and this goes to show they're not checking for rap. I mean, not like
Yeah,
that.
rap is dead. Like this is what people don't get. Like,
Well, since
look
they
at how these K
boycotted it, back in the '90s, they just stopped checking for it.
these K-pop dudes is killing it. Like they're crushing it with that.
Yo,
I love my girl. They love that.
yeah.
So
Go Gina. Hey, she know
don't.
that BTS has been killing the charts. They've been pretty much running the U.S. We have no idea what they're saying, but I guess it doesn't matter. They still look
They
like
got
they look
look. There
like
was a trap
prepubescent
song.
teens.
There was like a trap pop song they did that was pretty dope. Like I was like, first of all, I didn't know what the hell I was listening to because
But they were the
it just
feature. But they were the feature, weren't they?
uh I don't think that the feature. No, I don't think they were featured on that. I think that was their record because that was the one I was telling you about with the girls that were like, they were like, oh my god, look at Jintao and his hair and look how it like glistens so
They
nicely
look
on his
like
eyelash.
pubescent boys. None of them got a scratch of hair on their face, chins, chest, or balls. Like they look so they look so young. They look so young. Like I'm scared to approach them because you might get arrested for cradle robbing. Like they look.
Yeah, you're gonna catch a case.
You facts. Like I ain't got time for that. But yeah, BTS. Everybody's been singing in Korean what they think is Korean because they don't know what they're singing. But yeah, they came out and I guess they were the tagline to get people to tune in and to watch and I haven't looked at the ratings yet, but
All I got to say to all of that, the Grammys, first of all, um, people are like, oh, like you said, oh, cancel the Grammys, just cancel it completely, whatever, whatever. But I'm like, again, to those folks that are into that stuff,
mm-hmm.
you already know why they did not cancel the Grammys. So when we get our conspiracy episode going, we'll go in deeper down that rabbit hole. But that's all I have to. Message. That's all I got to say. That's it.
Wow.
We'll go down the rabbit hole together. But I mean, the other thing I always think I say about the Grammys is this: like, anybody could win a Grammy. That's why a lot of people. This is what I always keep telling artists, and they're like not really that smart. They're not really that they don't want to look into stuff because reading is scary. Anybody. That's why sometimes you look and somebody be like, they're like, and the award for best rap album is Little Tooth Nail, and you're like, who the hell is Little Tooth Nail? Like,
Yeah,
I've
who are
never
these
heard.
people? Right. Exactly.
That's because what artists should be doing. First of all, you can apply to actually win a Grammy. Like artists don't understand this. You can go and apply to get onto the voting board, right? You could submit your like you have to be a person that's on the board in order to submit. Anybody could sign up for it. You get yourself a little two hundred
Oh,
and fifty dollars.
that's some cheating shit right there.
Yeah, but this is how it works. It's not like Grammys and awards and stuff like that is not it's not curated based on your popularity. It's not curated based on just your sales and streams. It's curated based on did you get your vote in before the deadline?
Hmm.
So Minx Couture right now, because I have an account with the Grammys, I can go and put vibes in and say, y'all, you know, I am a aspiring artist. I'm chilling. I'm doing my thing. And yeah, and next year I can like get a contacted and said, Minx, everybody sat and heard your music, and we do think that your shit is hot, and we think that it's Grammy worthy. So we're gonna nominate you, right? Everything is based on nominations. That's why
Wow.
artists have to apply for that. So if you don't understand that process, you can't sit back and say, "Oh, why did they win? I never heard of them in my life." It's not based on if they've ever heard about you in their life.
That's
I can
becoming more and more
guarantee.
apparent now.
Yeah, it's all about who you know, what you know, and how you achieve that. Anybody could win a Grammy. It's just again, like I said, did you hit
Speaking of
did your
damn
music hit
devil,
the
speak
deadline?
of the devil. True words popped up.
What's goody true
True
words?
words, what's
What's
up?
goody true words?
Yeah, I was just
True
talking about
words.
you. I was just talking about you because you got my video flagged the other day. No, you didn't flag it, but it was like
True words is like I want all the
you
coins.
getting it
Give
because
me
I
all
can't.
my coins.
They just sent me an email said I couldn't monetize my video because your music was in it. So copyright issues. I
Yeah,
said,
how dare you have
how
your business in
dare
order?
you have your shit
How how
together?
dare you?
But no, I do appreciate the fact that you take the time to take your music seriously, but making sure you copyright your shit. But by all means, do that. But I noticed over the past couple of years that there has been an influx of these new artists that, like you say, you've never heard of them, but somehow they just it kind of makes the term industry clone kind of more.
Damn.
It kind of makes it more.
Sorry, True Words sent me something in my DMs, and I'm just like about to fall off my chair because I'm just like, like yo, like
Oh, almost made me spit out my water.
me and True Words, though, we very conscious folks, man. Like honestly, this. Let me tell you, I posted it earlier on my the Mink Show page on Instagram because I was like, look, if I'm gonna be shadow banned, I'm just gonna be shadow banned and like I'm gonna be shadow banning myself regardless. I'm not gonna stop telling the truth. But people don't realize this freaking coronavirus is like really a serious
It
thing.
started off in China and ended up in California somewhere. Like, what the hell? Like, who's traveling with the cooties? What's going on here?
Yo,
Keep that
I'm
shit on
afraid
the
to leave
east
the
side.
house.
Keep that shit
I'm
on the
afraid to
east
leave the
side. Like,
house.
we be good.
She said the cooties.
I'm trying to get over this cold. Like, I don't want to step outside and bam, coronavirus. Like, I don't want to do that. It's in New
True
Jersey.
Word
Oh my
says it's in
god.
New Jersey now. What?
What is this?
Oh my fucking god. I just can't. Like, oh
I'm
my
mad you
gosh.
busted out with the music.
Carlito says is a case in Connecticut. Oh my
Mm.
God. Carlito is my little
Keep
brother, y'all.
keep
Just
it
letting y'all know.
keep it above the Mason Dixon line. Thank you very much.
Yo.
Keep it above the Mason Dixon line. I don't got time for it. Nope. It's
He says
exactly.
send it
Send it
back to
back to
China.
China. Facts. Like they always want to
Let's give
send us.
Carlos a round of applause for that shit. Yes, yes.
Yeah, Carlito. Word. No, like they want to send us their bootlegs. We're gonna send that shit back to China. Facts.
Nah, that it's really a scary thing going on. That's why I kind of like, be sitting there like, yo, like, what is going on? Like, why is this
But
happening? Like,
but what happened to the damn Ebola virus? Nobody's
It's a trap.
It's a trap. It's a
Nobody's got
trap.
answers. What happened to the Ebola virus? What happened to that plane that just disappeared out the coast of what was it? Like Thailand somewhere? Just disappeared. Like where did this shit go? And where's the vaccination? Like where what do you do?
Yeah, what do
Jeez.
you do?
What do you do? Like you said, I'm scared to leave the house. I'm trying to get over a hair cold and now I'm Jesus, what's going on? It is too much going on in the United States. We're trying to impeach a president. Then you got some type of airborne virus going on. You got tsunamis going on in the Caribbean. You got too much shit going on. On top of that, Kobe's gone, and everybody's losing their shit. I don't understand.
If I could find the Titanic music while the freaking ship is sinking, I will play that right now because that's what it feels like.
That
Like it was a
right.
pleasure. It was a pleasure doing Station Head with you. Like,
All right, one last number.
exactly.
And a one,
And I don't
two,
mean to
three,
laugh, ladies and
four.
gentlemen. I don't mean to laugh, ladies and gentlemen, but it's a wrap. Like he said, they
See,
sacrificed Kobe to keep our minds off this virus. Like, you know what? I just
I want to say this real quick. I want to say this real quick. You know, people like to use that word distraction. I'm a person that can focus on eight different things at once if it's important. Like nobody's distracted from the fact that they're trying to keep Trump in office no matter what he says, no matter what he does. We're not distracted by the fact that there's, people still burning in freaking South America. We haven't forgot about that. There's people burning in Australia still. We haven't forgot about that. There's the damn coronavirus, the Modelo virus, the Michelob virus. I don't know what the hell, but it's a lot of that.
there's a new virus out too. There's a new one that just came out.
Look. It's a whole lot going on. And like I said, on top of the fact that you got celebrities passing left and right, everybody want to call it a distraction, but when you're like me, there is no distraction because you're keeping tabs on everything. You have to.
But the thing is too is that there are like just like yeah, true word said, like people it's like people they get distracted and they can't come out of that. Like they just like they stay stuck. Like they just like they're just like not that many people that can come out of like something will go down like for instance like the Kardashians, right? So there'll be some real serious stuff going on, but they're all worried about what the Kardashians are doing. So I'm like, word, like how do you stay focused with that when you have so many people that are addicted to entertainment?
Yeah,
Like
see,
they literally
they're one of
need
those.
entertainment.
They're one of those. They're some of those people that would rather not think about the bad that's going on and would rather focus on bullshit, I guess. But once again, like I said, sometimes you have to keep up with all the bad things that are going on to make sure it doesn't touch your doorstep anytime soon. You have to pay attention
Hmm.
to the news. You have to pay attention
Hmm.
to you have to pay attention to politics. You have to pay attention to your weather. You have to pay attention to overseas issues. Like Carlito said, they got rockets flying out of Iran. Nope, I haven't forgot about the fact that Trump just killed somebody in a drone mission. All of a sudden, they just decided to take people and ship them to Iran for what? But it's just,
And then there was that plane that went down that killed our troops. You
yeah,
see some of these generals that are tweeting and stuff. They're like, oh yeah, we know Kobe died, but I'm actually going to mourn some real heroes. I'm like, wait a minute, look,
yeah,
that was kind of like tacky, but I do understand that aspect too. Like, yes, there's people that die every day. There's people that are dying right now. They're
exactly,
not getting the same type of energy. We get that, but what people don't understand is that when you have these major celebrity deaths, I understand the shock behind it. I understand that people are like they can't believe it. They lost a hero. They lost someone, but I'm the type of person that looks in between the lines and I'm like, okay, this is what's headline news. So what is under the news? What is going on that they're not reporting?
exactly.
What is going on that they're not
True words. Look,
you know,
bruh.
they,
Look, bruh.
where's Batman when you
Hold on. Where you at? Where you at? We got Carlito coming on live here in a second.
Yes.
True words, bro. Come on, man. Come on, man.
He said, "Where's Batman when you
What's
need him?"
Batman when you need him? Come on, man.
What was
good, good.
Gucci,
What's
Carlito?
going
Carlito.
on? Hey, what's
How you
going on?
doing?
Yeah, welcome to the broadcast. Welcome to the broadcast, and welcome to Station Head.
Appreciate, I appreciate it. Appreciate it. First time. We're
Yeah.
going to be a long time.
Mhm. Mhm.
That's my little brother once again, y'all. That's my little baby brother.
Oh, the baby brother.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I had to get on this conversation because not a lot of people do talk about this. I mean, I think we are focused on a lot of like narrow-minded stuff. I mean, there's just so much stuff happening, and we get distracted, like generally speaking, by the news of the moment.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
We forget all the stuff like you mentioned. We just had an earthquake that hit Jamaica that was felt in Miami. They
Mhm.
talking about a
Mm-hmm.
tsunami coming.
Mm-hmm.
You got rockets flying out of Iran. You got all this other stuff happening. You got viruses going all over the place. You got people that's trying to kill us. You got people. It's just there's just too much going on, and why are we focused on things that aren't important?
Mhm.
Right.
Why are we picking and choosing what we think is important? First, I talked to my best friend the other day. He was surprised because we were talking about how that little girl from Sweden who was doing all that climate change and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Greta Thunberg. Yeah.
Yeah. Now I appreciate anyone who's advocating for trying to make the world a better place. I think we've been doing that for many, 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 many years.
Mhm.
He told me something I didn't even know about that you don't even hear in the news. He said, "Well, he was surprised she won Time Person of the Year," and he said, "Why don't you think we don't hear about Akon building houses and stuff with his own money? I think down in South Africa."
Right.
I said, "What?" He said, "Yeah." He said he's really an advocate in the community. You have all these people doing these things,
Yeah.
and you don't hear about
That's been out about a month some change now. I read that. I forgot where I seen it. I was traveling through the Twitterverse and I read it then. He's
them.
supplying
Yeah.
water and lights and building schools. He got his own city.
Yeah,
Yeah. I think
I
it's called
said,
like Akon Land or something like that.
yeah, and I said to him, I was like, really? I said, but why don't you hear about this like on the news, on the mainstream, and all that stuff? I mean, you have so many genuine people in this crazy world that we live in trying to do good,
Mhm.
Right.
and they don't get. And I'm not saying it's apples and oranges, but I think I felt some kind of way because they said, well, you have someone like a celebrity using his time, his money that he worked hard to get to help benefit others, like directly benefit others. He's not talking. It's the people you don't hear about that make the biggest difference. You know,
Mhm.
you think about someone like Jon Stewart, who's a comedian who decided to become more of an activist, and he
Mm-hmm.
advocated, and he's been advocating since 2001 on taking care of the people who were affected by 9/11. He actually had
Yeah.
to go to
He'd be
Congress.
heavy into that.
He
Very
He's
had to
much
actually
heavy
so.
go to
into.
Congress, go to
Mm-hmm.
Congress to demand that these people who risk their lives to save many of us, who have illnesses, who have been dying, who don't have the money to afford health care, and he said, "Do your damn job."
Facts.
Right.
Yeah.
He doesn't get Times Person of the Year. You got football players who are getting criticized for kneeling, but they don't talk about the work that they do on their personal time, the sacrifices they make from being away from their families to make a difference to entertain us.
Mhm.
So I was comparing and contrasting some of these things, but these are the distractions. These are things we don't think about.
Right.
And man, it just kind of feels like sometimes like it's the apocalypse is coming. You ever feel that way?
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yo.
seems like over the past few weeks, it's been like 80 million things going on all at one time, and then like the cherry on the Sunday was the fact that Kobe passed away, and then it's like okay, everything's just falling apart right now. What do you do?
Mm-hmm.
And there's so much going
Right.
on. What do you focus on? Like you can't. Everybody's just dropping everything else. Like fuck the president, fuck all this. Kobe's dead. It's like okay, he's gone, but we've got a coronavirus that's getting ready to take
Mm-hmm.
over the United States. That's a little more important to me right now you know.
Hmm.
And then you also wonder about those who are in Iran that are getting ready to, that are fighting, where it's just hard to explain. Like, you're fighting for no reason. Like,
Right.
it's just a lot of this doesn't make sense. But like you said, not everybody thinks the same way. Everybody just pick and choose what they want to, focus on. And I guess that's their ignorance. If they'd rather focus on what Kanye wore to Fashion Week, but you know, that's their
Exactly.
that's their ignorance. There's some of us who rather pay attention to the more important issues and
Right.
and be more informed. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being informed and telling people about it.
But why do
Hmm.
you think people just in general either ignore or just choose not to be informed of the things that really matter? I mean, like you made up a, you know, you watch, mainstream media, you watch the news, you watch the local weather, you watch all these things. Why do you think people have like just a one track mind where they just, maybe want to just look at entertainment and that's their form of news and nothing else matters? But I mean, there's a whole world out there that affects all of us. I mean, could you imagine if you don't listen to the news and you decided, oh, I just want to take an international trip, I want to go to the Middle East, I want to check out what's going on there,
Right.
Uh,
It's like I just gonna go over there and yeah,
like,
like a
why
South
do you
Park
think? Why
episode.
do you think? Why do you think people are like that? Like, what do you think the thought process is?
Hmm.
I, the way.
They're scared. That's what I would think. Like
I
they're just
mean,
scared to live.
I mean, don't be scared to live. Just take steps in arming yourself and informing yourself and preparing yourself, because you just never know.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, in this day and time, you just never know. That was me. I'm sorry. I'm trying to get over the cold. True words. I'm like 90% there.
Yeah, she's almost like we weren't on for like
Yeah, we
what's today,
were.
Tuesday?
Yeah, we were unemployed. Yeah, for a couple days.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah, that was me. That was
No,
my
but you
fault.
know what? The answer to the question is this, right? You have some people like one time I said to my dad, I said, Dad, why do you think like why won't they just tell us that there's aliens and shit? Like why won't they just come out and say it? He says, um it would cause mass panic and people would lose their minds and they would go around slaying and there'll be mass suicides. People will be like, I can't take it, and they'll jump out windows. Like we'll be cleaning up bodies for days. It's the
Yeah.
same thing with the reality of stuff, like even with the events that are going on with this Kobe Bryant stuff, just like people presenting ideas of why some of this stuff doesn't seem right. Already you got people are like, oh well, you're being disrespectful, and you're not thinking about the families. You're like, I'm just presenting a thought that some of this does not seem right. It just does not add up. So if I'm like, and I was literally arguing with this dude on Instagram a couple, I think it was last night. All the thing, I mean, it's a conspiracy page or whatever, but all they did was post up an interview that this lady did with a witness that saw this crash, right? So of course, what happened was that they just posted it. They didn't write a caption that was like, "You see, the Illuminati's behind it." Ah. They didn't say nothing. They just posted it and said this was a witness interview, and it's almost like clockwork. I know they got people on social media that's here to keep everybody in check, you
Mm-hmm.
know. So they're writing in the comments. This guy says, "Oh, this is not the time or the place to be talking about this." He's like, "Talking about what? All I did was show an interview that transpired with Channel 5 News." So he's like, "Well, this don't seem right. You're disrespecting the families and stuff." So when you're reading these comments and you see how hard they're going to help you stop asking questions, to make you stop asking questions about things, that's when you got to say to yourself, okay, is this a handler? Are these people that are just trying to make, and it's like it's the same comments on certain posts. So you're just like different accounts, same comments. So I'm like, so y'all are really sending your moles out your bots out to target and to silence people from questioning things, because when you have 100 people asking a question, something is not clear, something doesn't seem right, something doesn't sit right. So all the lady said to the kid in the interview, she said to the kid, how old are you? And the kid was underage, so obviously as a reporter you got to get consent. So the kid was like, yeah, my dad's with me, my mom's at home, whatever. But the kid specifically said in this video that he heard a jet. He did not hear a helicopter. He said he heard a jet. Now, just by him saying that, I mean, do kids lie? I mean, are all kids lying? Why did they mysteriously just have one witness, some kid that looked like he was in his Fortnite bag? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't really think that this kid saw anything. Like, what kid was actually chilling and was like, let me just take a look outside because I hear a weird sound?
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't make sense to me. I'm like, okay, so y'all got this kid. They always got to have witnesses on deck. We know that. Um, but I'm like, why are people getting so mad at the simple things that were on live television? Just like the chick that said the N word, right? So
You know,
people
I've been
people
seeing
like, oh,
some man.
she said naggers. She said naggers, right? But are you telling me thousands of people that was tuned in watching this publication are lying?
A part of me thinks that people just want to hear what they want to hear, but on one hand, on the other hand, I guess I can kind of understand, because I heard it about 4 or 5 times. I sat there and played it back. I'm like, she's getting jumbled, or what is she saying? Like, number one, she was trying to talk fast and get the news out, and then, but at the same time, it's like, okay, you know who Kobe plays for. How could you mess that up?
Yeah,
So it was
she
like, all right, you getting real slick. So I suggest you do some damage control. So she came right out and was like, well, I will never say anything like that, and this, that, and the third. Now there were rumors that she had gotten fired, but they've been. I don't think she's gotten fired because quote unquote, honest, quote unquote honest
they
mistakes. She was reading the copy, or reading the teleprompter, and I guess you see some of these anchors really need to start wearing glasses, because we got this local anchor who constantly fucks up her words, but she's been on the news for over 30 years. There's no reason why you got to mess up on simple words, but on this particular case, I think people were just more upset and sad that Kobe died, that they were just waiting for some dumb shit to pop off, and bam, here she go, knickers,
well, I don't
nakers,
think it
nakers.
just reminds me. It reminds me of that episode of, yeah, and again, I believe in predictive programming like crazy. And in this program of South Park was when they were playing Price is Right,
Goodness.
and the dude says, "Carlos, help me." Dude says, he says, "It's N blank GGERS," and he
Oh,
says, "What is
is
the
this?
most?"
Oh, is this South Park?
Yeah, and he says,
Oh,
uh,
the category, Oh, I know this one. It was the
and he was
category
so
was
proud.
people. It was like people who annoy you, and it was like N blank whatever. So he bought some consonants in a vowel, and then all was missing was the
The
letter
vowel.
after N. And he was like, and you had one of the guys who was recording, and he was black, and he was looking, and
Everybody
he was
started
like running
zooming
out of
in.
time. He was running out of time, and he was like, "I know it, but I don't think I should say it." There were like 5 seconds, and he said it with the I, but it was
Ooh,
really maggots.
He's like,
ooh.
he said it, and then it was just like the whole audience was like,
And then you had the cameraman peeker behind the camera, like, what the fuck did he just say? I remember seeing that episode. That shit was. He said,
but
hold up. I know he did not just say that.
that's exactly what it made me think of, because I'm like, I feel like I've seen this before, like on a cartoon or something, because I know the word naggers was used on South Park as a kind of like a comedy aspect of it. So that's why I said we heard this, like all this predictive programming and stuff that's going on. Like I'm like, everything we see now, we've seen it already. We just like having like that moment, like, why does it seem so familiar? Like I've seen this somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you got black people, honestly, that are like actually coming up, and I agree with you. True words, like we just got to stop using the word altogether. Like it's just honestly, like it. Some people will say it's just a word, and if you add negative energy to it, then you're just it's just a word at the end of the day. But to some people, it actually holds like, hold on, it has like
Tina.
more weight to it. Yeah, she's being bad. It
Oh.
has more weight to it. So, I just think that in 2020, we should have really said, you know what, let's just get rid of this.
I mean, not that I don't know how everyone feels about Bill Cosby in this day and age, but there was a point in time I do remember where he was highly respected across the board. He was American dad, and he actually brought up this conversation, pretty much saying, "Hey, listen, it doesn't matter the way you say it, whether you drop the er and put an a at it." He said, "We no one should be using that word, and." A lot of people who were having issues with Eminem using it as a rapper, but dropping the er and putting an a in it and getting offended because he was white. I mean, I agree. The word should not be used. If you're gonna be offended by one group or many groups using it, it just shouldn't be used at all.
Okay.
And if you look it up on YouTube, I remember he had this talk about it because there's this whole controversy. I mean, you're using slang, well, me personally, I grew up with women my entire life. I'm not going to be sitting there joking around calling women bitches because I don't want people calling my sisters a bitch. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? I don't want no one calling my mom
Unless
a
it's
bitch.
you.
Unless it's me. Then,
Unless it's you.
you bitch. But, in a serious note, we should be using that. And then I just think also, too, there's another aspect where I think we also, as a society nowadays, and I think history repeats it. Like we're very sensitive. We're very, very, very sensitive. Like
And more
as a
so now.
society, very sensitive. Now, I'm not saying that's necessarily a bad or good thing, but I think like sometimes what happens is we go from one extreme to another. Like for instance, if you look at the Me Too movement, right? And I talk about this all the time with my female friends. They think it's funny, but I explained to them, listen, there was a point in time where women didn't have a voice. Women couldn't vote. Women couldn't do a lot of stuff. Couldn't even hold a position of power.
Mm-hmm.
Weren't even able to be news anchors, right? And there came a point in time, not that we weren't aware of this, but there came a point in time where people started getting a voice. Women started getting a voice, and they started advocating, and it started becoming a movement. But what happened with that movement? It went to the extreme where people are like, all right, we went from ignoring women, whether they made claims of being sexually harassed, sexually assaulted, you know, subjected to harassment and all this other stuff, and people ignoring it, to now the mentality is we got to believe everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you often find that there are a lot more people speaking out, which I think is good, but there's incidences where people use that power, you know, not for the greater good, but almost for retaliation in this day and age. Not
Mm-hmm.
saying in the past, and I think it's circumstance to circumstance.
Right.
So me being a guy now, I'm going, full disclosure, I'm a guy going into nursing. I'm in nursing right now. There ain't many guys in my school going for that field. We have a few, but the
Mm-hmm.
majority of women. I've worked in healthcare for a long period of time. Majority of people I work with were women. So as a guy, I've always been respectful. I've tried, been, aware of where I'm at in my surroundings. But, even more so nowadays, it's scary because I can compliment you on your hair or your outfit and genuinely doing it with no ill will. And someone can literally take that as I'm sexually harassing them. And all
Mm-hmm.
it takes is for someone to say one thing, and it doesn't matter whether you're guilty or not, because the court of public opinion usually makes the verdict. And I said to my friends, I said, it's scary nowadays being a guy because we do live in a very sensitive and almost polarizing time where we haven't found that middle ground yet. We went from ignoring to believing everything to, you know, it's such a strange time. The 90s were different from now, and what is next 10, 20 years going to be? What do
Exactly.
you guys thought?
I don't think people now would make it in the 90s. I do believe that. Uh, because back then, like I was telling, I forgot who I was speaking to. Yeah, 20 years from now, I'm scared because
Yep.
if people are being offended now, every time there's a gay person on TV, if people are offended now, every time somebody calls every time somebody touches a woman inappropriately, which you got accusation after accusation after accusation, and it's like, okay, well, what do you do? Like, what can you do to like not seem like everything is going to hurt your feelings?
Mm-hmm.
You
And
know,
that's why comedy is trash now, because it's like,
comedy
how do
has
you?
gone from
Yep.
Richard Pryor standards, from Richard Pryor and George Carlin, your Lenny Bruce's, your very foul mouth, you know, give no shits
Chris
attitude, Chris
Chris
Rock,
Rock,
yeah, all of the
Bernie
progressive,
Sanders.
yeah, all of the progressive
This nigga
people,
said
Not Bernie
he
Sanders.
said
Bernie
Sanders.
Mac, I meant to say. Bernie Mac.
Bernie Sanders.
I want you all to get hurt
Although he
here.
is a
I'm
little
sure he
funny
could tell
though,
a
but I
couple
meant Bernie
knock
Mac.
jokes
I
in
was
his
thinking
life,
about the Kings of Comedy. I was thinking about
but
the
yeah,
Kings of
I
Comedy.
mean, yeah, you got those progressive, forward thinking, no holds bar comedy, comedians and all that. To now, Dave Chappelle says, and Dave Chappelle is like one of the elite comics that I do watch because he has a certain audience. He has a certain way of saying things, and he says it for a reason. He wants you to get offended. But he wants you to think. Like,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
and what I'm telling you, is that really offensive, or are you just being offended because social media tells you to be offended, or are you just
Yes.
following
Just because
Twitter?
I'm dressed this way does not make me a whore. But you got
Well,
a whore's outfit on.
depends on who you ask, but
Yeah, true words. Yeah, his new stand up was hilarious. I just felt like it was such a breath of fresh air, but it's like I had to watch it alone because I'm like, oh, these mofos are gonna feel some kind of
yeah, they're gonna
way.
feel some kind of way. Like, we need
Yeah.
people like Dave Chappelle out there. We need people like that. We're getting so tired of. Well, I mean, I watch Kevin Hart, but we're getting so tired of that same style of comedy.
Yeah. No.
He wasn't ready. No, Kevin. No,
Like that
like
was funny the first
okay, the
time.
first time,
Like
but now
it's
you have
not.
six stand-ups, and you have a six-part series on how you fucked up as a husband and how you failed as a husband. Like, did we need six parts to that? Like, I give it to Kevin Hart. He's got one of the biggest hustles today as a comedian. He's selling out. He's eating. He's grinding. I will never take that away. But Kevin, dog, do we really need six parts of "Don't fuck this up"? That could have been one whole hour and done.
Yeah, we'll
Mm-hmm.
never have. You know what I miss though? I was thinking about this the other day. Do you remember when Chris Rock came out with the No Sex in the Champagne Room?
That was my shit. I was thinking that last week.
Yeah,
No sex in the
that
champagne
right
room. No
there,
sex in the champagne room.
absolute, absolutely no sex in it.
Champagne. That's my shit.
And
Who's
it's
that?
like,
Was that Gerald Levert that sung that?
yeah, it was Gerald Levert.
Yeah, that's my man. No sex in the champagne room.
Yeah, that was a dude. Like,
There's absolutely no sex in the champagne room. But
Oh man.
you can't talk about that now. Like, oh my gosh, she's talking about the S word. We can't say the S word. We can't say sex. We can't touch.
I
We
just
can't
think that
talk.
people. I say this all the time, even as a person that's trying to blow up or whatever you want to call it. There's no takebacks. If I said it, I said it.
And
If
stand
you
on
rock
it.
with me, yeah, if you rock with me or you need to re-educate me on something ignorant that I said, I'm willing to listen. But I'm not going to sit here as a person and consistently censor myself and think about people's feelings and think about how people are going to absorb what I say because they don't know how to take a joke or they don't know how to just say, you know what, this bitch is annoying. I'm just going to keep scrolling. Like it's just like everybody just wants to be combative. They want to test you. They want to, just check you on your G card all the time. And I'm like, look, especially on Facebook, one of the things I always say about Facebook is it's the land of the miserable. You do something positive, you crack a joke, someone's gonna find a hole in it. They're gonna say some dumb shit,
Oh
or
my
if
god.
you
Man,
if you
Facebook used to
post
be
up
so fun, but now it's like you scared to post what
the
you really
only
feel.
fun the only fun I have on Facebook now is when my aunt and I be going in on Candy Crush. Okay, so that's like my highlight.
Wow.
I don't care about all that. I'm
Well,
like your
let me ask you. Let me ask
politics.
you. Let me ask you all a question real quick. Not to cut
Mm-hmm.
you. And I
No,
want
go
to hear
ahead.
your. I want to hear all your thoughts.
You're
So
you're the guest. You're the guest.
okay, thank you. So you have an idea now where we are today. Do you think, and this is for all of you, just generally speaking, should we or should anyone be punished for comments that they made in the past that may at that time had been socially acceptable that in this day and age is not? For example, I believe it. There was what's his name? Kevin Hart had made some
Mm-hmm.
sort of post on his Twitter or something about something related to gays or homophobics or whatever, and he was using it as a joke that came up, and they didn't want him hosting one of the award shows, and it was this big controversy. Do you think that people should be held responsible for comments that were acceptable, or do you think that we need to get over it?
Uh, I think like this. The joke that he made was in relation to his son, because he said his
Mm-hmm.
son does some questionable things. And he
Yeah.
said, one day his son was eating an ice cream cone. He was looking at kind of suspect. And he told him, "Stop that. That's gay."
Mm-hmm.
This joke was back in what 2012 or some shit,
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
when
and
he was talking
people,
about smashing the dollhouse over his head.
right,
But
and
they didn't get the punchline. This is what aggravated me about that whole situation because I was like, why the first thing like a normal person that just doesn't look so heavy into shit would have busted out laughing because they're like, so why the fuck do you have a dollhouse? You know
well,
what I mean? Like
well, he
that's
got
how I peeped the joke.
well,
That's when I heard it. That's how I absorbed the joke because I was like, it was a punchline. You know what I'm saying? Like it was leading up into the joke. It was like the alley oop. So the alley oop was, if my son, came out his face talking about he's gay, I'm gonna smash his dollhouse over his head. That was the joke. Like, and people went over their heads. They're like, oh my god, that was so homophobic. But I'm like, did you miss the part where he said he's gonna smash his dollhouse? Like, y'all missed that part.
that was digging him further in a hole. Now you can't even say, "Oh, well, your son wears pink." You know what I mean? You can't even say that. Like it's that's how offensive people have become. Now, to answer Carlito's question, should
Mm-hmm.
you be held responsible? Yes, because I mean you said it, you stand by it, you took ownership. Should you move on? Yes, if you have grown, if you have received some type of backlash from it or anything, and you have moved on from that part of your life where you try to deliver your comedy a more positive way, or anything like that, and this is about 4 or 5 years back, leave it alone. That was four or
Yeah.
five years ago. You know what I'm saying? Take your responsibility, but grow from it, and then let it go. You can't keep dragging tweets from 2012 into 2021. You can't do that. Like that's how long. How
But
long are we
in,
going to
in
live with it?
another
How long can we live
in
I
with
agree.
that?
another
I
in
agree.
another
I agree.
aspect, let's talk about, okay, with this same logic, look at what's his face? Eddie Murphy. They're asking him, do you take back your stand-ups, the jokes and stuff like that you said during your stand-ups, and he said yes. I'm like, but this is what put you on the map. This is
Right.
why you're Eddie fucking Murphy. You are Eddie Murphy. I remember that stand-up with Raw.
That's my
You're
shit.
Eddie Murphy because of the jokes that you did. And if you're going to take them back, you should also renounce your fame. You should also give back all that money and all that stuff that you got. Because I'm like, you're still going to benefit, regardless if you say, I don't stand by what I said. You're still going to benefit as a celebrity. You're still going to make money and royalties off of the shit that you did.
Because
And
they,
he's
they
only
say
doing
when,
that because
well, they
he's
say,
only doing that shit because Coming to America is coming out. That's what it is. It has nothing. He don't feel bad about none of the shit he said.
and it was that and the fact that he was doing a press run for Dolomite, and uh, and they said that since Bill Cosby was in jail, I guess he was going to make jokes about Cosby being in jail because when he did Raw and when he did Delirious, he did Bill Cosby jokes.
Mm-hmm.
And then he said, and on one joke he said, Bill Cosby called me, and first of all, I didn't know why the fuck he called me, but he calls me and says, you can't say that filth, flarn, filth, flarn, filth. He was like, sir, I don't know what you're talking about. And he was like, well, you know what I'm talking about. And he said he got upset. He calls Richard Pryor. Richard Pryor says, did you make a lot of money? Yeah. Did you make people
Mm-hmm.
happy? Yeah. Well, tell Bill I said have a coke and a smile. Shut the fuck up. Like, and Richard
I
was
remember.
right. Richard was right. If doing what you love make people happy and you got a little coin off of it, I mean, let it roll off your back. I mean, that's what happened. You know what I mean? And now that
I
Bill's in
really think
jail,
that
is like, is he
I
really
think
going to
that
go back and
comedy.
double down on what he said?
See, comedy. The thing that people don't get about comedy is that comedy is half truths. Okay, so one side is the shit that you laugh at, like, yo, that shit is crazy. But the other side is also information or just like real
Mm-hmm.
life stuff that you're poking fun at. It's comic relief. I was a big Shakespeare head in high school. So,
Oh, me
all the
too.
kids that wanted, oh yeah, I was a huge Facebook Shakespeare fan. But when I was, helping kids that didn't understand like the lingo and all that stuff, I explained to them, I said comic relief, the little breakups, the intermissions of how Shakespeare set his shit up. It was supposed to pull you away from the drama, so that he had to introduce comic relief, and that's why we have comedy.
Mm-hmm.
So when you have comedy is supposed to be a play off of what's really going on, but poking fun at it. But not to say like, oh, this motherfucker died. Like, no, this motherfucker died because he was stupid. That's why he died.
And
So
there's
you're
the
gonna
comic
laugh at that.
relief. You're right.
You're gonna laugh at that. So like
Mm-hmm.
someone like George Carlin, like I used to love George Carlin because he was all like hell bent on like I'm an atheist and fuck you if you don't understand that. But you still rocked with him because he didn't care whether you liked him. He didn't care whether if you disliked him. He didn't care what religion you were. It was fuck you and you here to watch me and make you laugh.
And the
That's what it
material
was.
and the material that he had was very relatable and it was very truthful. That's why a lot of
Yes.
people respected and grew up idolizing him because he once again he was he was Bernie Mac before Bernie Mac. You know what I mean? He said what he
Right.
wanted, and he didn't care about what people thought about him because he had a mind, he had a mouth, he had a voice, and now he has a platform to where he can say and do what he want. Whether you agree with it or not, he got paid. And guess
Yeah.
what?
Hmm.
He gonna do the same thing again next week.
And when you
I
start
think.
limiting people to how they're able to creatively express themselves, I'm like, at that point, it's not creative. That's why you look at like on Instagram, they got these Instagram comedians. I'm like, y'all motherfuckers ain't funny. Like, there's no ha ha. Like, your punchlines ain't funny. Like, I don't find none of these people funny. It's all
The
based on
skits
streams,
and the
the
skits and
skits.
everything are just some of the skits were very like cringy.
Yeah, most of them are. But I was surprised that even some like I don't know if you saw one of the skits I had did about what is it, the being a female and being approached by promoters and people that claim they can help you. You
Mm-hmm.
see, there was people that climbed into my DMs and said, yo, Minx, like that right there was so different because I was sitting there the whole time waiting for the punchline. and you killed it within the last 3 seconds of the punchline. I don't know if you remember, it was around the time where they were talking about the Popeyes chicken. So
Mm-hmm.
the whole time I'm presenting a real issue that's going on, because when I do my skits, I plan them very like deeply. So you talk about a real issue that's going on. You get the audience like into it, like, damn, yeah, that shit really be happening though. Like, and then you crack a joke in the end, which the joke was, I want to take you out or whatever. And then the girl says, like, I'm a businesswoman. I don't go to on dates and stuff. I'm about my business. And then I ended off with something that's controversial going on. So I said, yeah, I mean, I like Popeyes. So everybody fell out laughing at the. This is how I know people watched the entire skit, because everybody fell out at the Popeyes part.
Mm-hmm.
So that's exactly what's missing, is like people don't know how to construct jokes. They don't know how to do punchlines. They don't know how to keep an audience engaged. And I'm like, if everyone is so offended by every fucking thing, I'm
And you
surprised
know
it
what?
didn't take
And
power off.
I was getting ready to say, and do you know why these new comedians don't know how to be comedians? Because people forgot how to take a joke and laugh at it. People forgot how to
Right.
laugh. Like you can't be a comedian anymore. What
A
can
real
you
one.
a real one? Like what can you say without hurting someone's feelings?
I don't give a shit. I fucking tell it like it the fuck is.
I could see a new age comedian now going through their routine and having a list of things like when they do their workouts. And a few comedians say they write a couple of topics on page, and everything is based on real life, and they add a little comedic, twist to it. So they write down a premise, and Dave Chappelle says he starts with the punchline first, and he builds around the punchline.
Right.
A lot of comedians, these new comedians, don't know how to do that because they want to hurry up and make people laugh, but they fuck the joke up, or the joke becomes offensive, so they're not going to laugh at it. So now you
Yeah.
have to scratch that off your paper and go on to the next joke and hope it lands. Because, like, now, if you try to be a comedian, you probably bomb. Like,
See, then you have people like me and my brother and my sister. Sometimes we're the type of people that have dark humor. So,
We have
like,
no,
yeah.
no, no. But let's be honest here. We have some sick humor. It's not
we're
dark.
very
It's
sick.
sick. It's pretty sick.
We are
You
very
know,
sick people.
it's funny. It's funny. I was just talking to
I love dark humor.
yeah.
I got a sick, twisted sense of humor too.
uh,
I do.
I love it. I knew we were gonna get along. I knew we
Like
were gonna get along.
if there's a dirty joke in there somewhere, I'm going to make note of it, and you're
there
going to
might
hear
be
it from me.
there might be three by the end of the night. Who knows?
Right.
Yeah.
What happens? But
Just
I was
open
just
the door
telling
and walk on in. Rivers
Yeah,
Exactly.
1973, what's up? Thanks for tuning in, Rivers 1973.
yeah. I was just actually telling my one of my homegirls. She's very sarcastic, but I had mentioned to her, and it wasn't coming from me. I was just saying in general, because sometimes they even don't. I don't have a filter, and sometimes I don't think of what I say. Just my sister will tell you. Sometimes I just blurt out stuff, and I'm just unapologetic about it because that's who I
Oh,
am.
he's a Libra too, by the way.
What? Gang, 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 gang.
Yeah, yeah.
Gang, gang. You're surrounded,
I knew
Minx.
you'd love that.
You're
So
surrounded.
I'm a Libra, but yeah,
Are
I'm a match.
October or
I'm
September?
an October. I'm an October Libra. Are you a September Libra?
I am. I am. I am.
My aunt is.
I was supposed to been born in October, but I was a little.
Well, I'm going to
nosy.
tell you something. My aunt, who I absolutely adore, she's a September Libra. Now, no one's perfect, but I mean, we'll accept. We come from the same sign. It's okay.
You
You
had
know,
no choice but to accept me,
subtle,
honey. You had
subtle
no choice
differences,
but
but
to
you know
accept
what?
me, honey.
Still great people. Still great people.
Yeah.
And but I was telling my homegirls, she's very sarcastic, and I loved it because you don't see that sort of in your face sort of sarcasm anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I gave her feedback. I'm always want to give you feedback, good or bad. And I was just telling her, I was like, you're funny as shit, but if I was someone who was sensitive, I would take offense to what you say. And she didn't really listen to what I was saying, which was also something I was joking around with her because I was like, "You're not listening. You never listen to me. This is why we can't be friends." And she started laughing because she loved it. I was just saying to her, I said, "You know, your humor, your sarcasm is amazing." And I said, "Let me tell you something right now. If you ever come into my family, you have to understand that we use humor kind of like as our way to kind of get through whatever." You know,
Mm-hmm.
even the toughest things. That's what humor is about. I mean, that's
Exactly.
when you're talking about comedians and you're talking about all these things. I brought in it, and I even say entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
Entertainment is a relief from reality. Sometimes you want to escape reality, and whether it's you're a sports fan, whether you love watching movies or TV shows, whether you like watching stand up comedies, there's all these little outlets. Because I mean, if you sat there and just really dove into what the reality of the world is,
You would be
oh
so
my
You will get
God,
comfortable.
me.
you'd be
Yeah.
You will get
depressed.
me. You'll get Minx Couture right in your face.
So so when I think about like someone like George Carlin, for instance, and I keep referring back to him, I think, and I think entertainers, but more specifically comedians, I think they're very intelligent people. I mean, I look at George Collins, I look at Dave Chappelle, I look at even Chris Rock. I mean, I know he's a little bit more raunchy, but I still like him for what he is because he's on. I mean, I still think he was unapologetic. He was just there's some truth to comedy that some people may not feel comfortable about. And think about that comedians actually have to stand in front of a stage and stand in front of cameras and millions of people and talk about the things that I think us as regular people may not have the courage or the cojones or the balls to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And but there's truth to you can. I feel everything that a lot of comedians do. It's relatable. It's not
Right.
targeted to one person, one group of people, one gender. I mean, I feel like comedians are equal opportunists. And I think George Collins not only was he an equal opportunist in talking about issues that many people may not have want to do it, he did it in such a way and put comedy a comedic spin to it that it almost made it feel like comfortable. Like, yeah, we're laughing about it because it's that ridiculous, but in somewhere in there, there is a reality to it. But
Mm-hmm.
at least he's bringing it out. He's pointing it out, and he was also doing comedy that was relative to the times. I mean, he was doing comedy what since the late '60s, '70s, and then on. Like, I mean, he's
Mm-hmm.
been around the block for a while.
And he
And
pa- he
think about
patterned
how
he
much
patterned himself after Lenny Bruce. He actually went to a Lenny Bruce show one night. Lenny got arrested. He said he was there at that show, and that's when he knew he wanted to be a comedian.
Wow.
and look at he's a legend.
Very much
You
so.
know, even and I don't know. I find it interesting, and I wonder why. Like, I always ask the question why or when or what happened where we used to be able to. Now, I'm not saying people didn't have issues with it, but I just felt like, even think about it this way: cartoons. When we were growing up, we were watching cartoons, shooting people in the face,
Hmm.
dropping anvils on one another,
Mm-hmm.
blowing trains up,
Yes.
and
Give
we
me
were
Bugs
Wally
laughing.
Bunny.
We're like,
Coyote.
oh,
Give me Wally
Wally
Bugs
Coyote.
Bunny.
Coyote.
Tom and
And
Jerry
now,
fucking each other up on a daily basis. Yes. Give me that.
daily basis. Now, if you showed Ren and Stimpy now, oh,
Whoo!
Oh yeah,
They would get canceled in 5 seconds. They'd
that
get
is true.
canceled in five. Like even as a third
life in
grader, I
prison.
had no business watching that cartoon at 8:30 at night. I had no business watching it, but it was just so funny.
Yeah,
That
Ren
was
and Stimpy
entertainment.
was Ren and Stimpy was mad inappropriate, but we didn't get the jokes. But I will definitely say that one of the channels that I like watching at night, is Adult Swim because that
Mm-hmm.
shit like they be having some weird shit on there.
Man,
Yeah,
look.
yeah, it's a little strange. I'm not gonna lie, but that's
I
our
was
humor,
half
though.
asleep last night, and it was a bump that came on. You know how they do like this long little skit thing in between the commercials.
With the lo-fi beats.
Yeah, and I was hearing like some sexy music, and I'm like, it's like 2:30 in the morning, and I'm like, okay, I'm hearing some sexy music. Did I turn to something? Like what happened? And I keep hearing like this. I keep hearing like this panting and heavy breathing and this little sexy brown chicken wow wow music. And I happened to turn and catch the last 10 seconds. It's this thing they drew sitting in a bathtub, having a bubble bath with candles around it, and I guess touching herself in the bathtub. I guess that's what that was. And then it was like Adult Swim. I'm like, wait, what? What did I just miss?
Like,
Yeah,
what the fuck was this?
it,
Right.
it,
My mom said, these people are on crack. I am convinced because some of the little bumps in the commercials that they put, all the blinking lights and weird colors and just grotesque ass claymation shit. But it's funny. She said they are on drugs. I guarantee you they are on drugs. I said they probably
of
are.
course they are.
Of course they are.
They
Of
have to be
course
They
on some
they
have
sort of
are.
LS.
man.
They're on some
That's
LSD,
exactly
or
what she
or
said.
they're smoking some bath salts, because some of those skits be
Bath
like,
salts.
But
yo, like, this shit is crazy. I think one of the shows that I loved on there was Moral Oral. That show
That
was was
comes
was
on.
really.
That comes on sometimes like at 4 o'clock in the morning.
I see why.
they used to have more oral, the oblongs,
Oh, I like the
oh
Oblongs was,
oblongs.
man,
I love the
I
Oblongs,
love
man.
the
That
Rocket
shit.
oblongs.
Team, Hunger Force. I mean, you name it. It was just it used to be crazy, and then now it's like you have to
They
like
show
catch it on
reruns
special.
of Metalocalypse recently.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
They took
Take me back
Mr.
there.
Costa.
You
Pickles
take me
off
back.
TV. They took Mr. Pickles off TV.
Yeah, probably too
Mm.
many people were complaining because they can't take, like,
That was some
entertainment is not
that was some
entertaining.
no, that was some satanic shit in the beginning of that doggone cartoon.
Yeah,
It was it,
yeah.
that was
It's not for
that was
everybody.
it's not for everybody. It's not
I'll
you
never forget
decide.
one
Like
time. One time, I this was back in, I think, 2011. I was like, I had my daily ritual. I had like my chips and my sandwich, with the nice crunch mush combination. I
Hmm.
had my ganja rolled up. I'm in the freaking fire escape getting litty. I come in, I sit down, I said, let me put on some Adult Swim. And I did, and I almost scared myself to death. I said, wait a minute.
it
I
could
don't
get
know
you
what
touched.
it was, like some demonic shit. Like, it just, the whole screen was like Satan, and it just was like hell, and it was like Satan 666. I was like,
And then you saw a dog. Like, wait, what? Holy shit, what?
exactly. I was
Mr.
like, why
Pickles.
do they do that? But I think that's what they. Some people were like, Minx, you're not really into the dark shit. I said,
When
I
you
am
want to
into
talk,
the dark shit.
when you want to talk about suggestive television and all that shit, well, there you go.
That right there really blew my mind. I just couldn't believe it. I literally had to turn the TV off.
I didn't make it past the opening credits. Shit, I was like, nope, I gotta watch SpongeBob. I'm
It's
watching
like, okay,
SpongeBob.
I'll watch. Let me watch the Boondocks and see where that takes me.
Yeah. Let me,
It's like,
now that's something you smoke to. You smoke to the Boondocks. You can't smoke and watch Mr. Pickles because you have no idea what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah, you
yeah,
better have
that a
911 on
casket.
standby.
You better have like an ambulance come in to help assist you to
Dial
the next
nine and
facility.
one and wait. Like, hold on a
Yep.
second. Hold on a second.
Cause of death of she took an Adult Swim. That's what it was.
Yeah, she was in there watching some cartoon. Oh, well.
Yeah.
But
And
yeah,
that was it.
yeah. But yeah. I got another topic that that Minx and I was talking about.
Huh?
I don't know how up to date on music news you are, Carlito, but
Not
um,
much.
not much.
He keeps
Well,
it
Not
real
much,
though.
but we'll see.
all right. So what was it? Last week or a couple weeks ago, Minx and I were discussing Takashi 69 and the fact that he has to spend some time in jail and this, that, and the third.
Hmm.
And now he has a podcast. So today they premiered uh his show. It's called Infamous.
I
And
thought it was called Icky with the Blicky.
Icky with the blicky getting stiffy.
My God. My
Yeah.
God.
So
I got the with the sticky with the Blicky.
and and the show is being narrated by Angie Martinez, and she narrates the story of how he grew up in Brooklyn and how he was found in the store rapping and how he wanted to be a blood, this, that, the bleep, blah, blah, bloop.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, why do you feel, or do you feel, that this kid who, you know, I mean, he's the biggest troll. Well, next to 50, he's like the second biggest troll. Why did we feel the need to have a narrated story about this boy's life? Like, we knew what was going on with him. He snitched.
He's a snitch.
Story
Snitches get
He's
over.
a
stitches.
rat. He's
Story
a
Snitches get the
over.
cheese.
blicky.
Right.
He's a
Snitches
cheese
get the
eating rat.
blicky.
He's a cheese
And of
eating
course, it's
rat.
being spearheaded and brought to you by the people over at Complex. That's DJ Academics territory right there. Uh, and
Complex magazine. Yeah.
And you know what? Joe Budden had sat there on one of his last few days of Complex. He told DJ Academics, he said, "Yo, you're putting yourself in a very dangerous, spot. You're sitting here hanging out with all of these people who, in turn, either get shot, they kill themselves, or in Takashi's case, you get locked up, and then
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
you snitch out, and then you are trying to serve the rest of your jail time at home because you don't feel safe. You are
Right.
in fear for your life. Oh, but you are you Treyway, you blood.
Mm-hmm.
You gangster. You all this. You talking what you talking in your raps. They want to test your metal and see, how hard you really go, but now you're no longer Takashi. You are Daniel Hernandez.
Hmm.
Right.
You're just a kid from Brooklyn or wherever the heck he's from. You're just another kid, fresh in the
But you
game.
Hmm.
already know everything with these types of things. It has nothing to do with his story. I don't think anybody really cares about his story. I think that again, with the predictive programming and stuff, I think they wanted to just get his story out because he's probably going to fake his death or some dumb shit because he knows that when he gets out of prison, he ain't going to be like untouchable like that. Like it's just weird
I
that
mean,
in
he
hip
can't go into
hop,
witness
right?
protection. It's going to be kind of hard to do that when you've got
Yeah,
rainbow
with
Yeah.
all the
hair and
tattoos on
diamond
his face.
tattoos. Yeah, right.
But the thing is that this is a wake up call to all new rappers, anybody that's tuned in, to the new rappers that are thinking about joining gangs so that you can get like connect and it looks nice in the music videos while you're sitting on top of a Honda drinking some Captain Morgan.
Mm-mm.
I just
Mm-mm.
think that
Mm-mm.
y'all need to being gangster back in the day was so much different than it is now. Like, real gangsters, like we lived in Yonkers at one point in our lives, and I would be walking by out after work, and I was looking all right. I'm coming from the car biz with no car. And I cutting off the bus, and I got to stop by and get my wrap, just to get nice.
Mm-hmm.
And there was always some young fella that wanted to like talk to me like, hey, how you doing, shorty? I'm like, man, I'm old enough to be your mother, sir. But
Oh,
the real
did you
gangsters,
really did you really come off that line?
you damn right I did.
I'm old enough to
I,
be your
I
mother,
just I
sir.
am old enough to be your mother, sir.
Ew.
So it was like maybe two or three times.
Ew.
It was like two or three times this kid came and tried to talk to me, and then one of the OGs, like, yo, like, every single day, man, like like she is way out of your league, bro. Don't even talk to her. Don't ask her nothing, or else you're gonna have to see me. But you saw the fear
Uh huh.
in that boy's eyes
He
because
respect
he
the
knew
OG.
this dude will hang you out on the 27th floor by your ankles, bro. Like, don't do it.
And back in the '90s and early 2000s, there was almost a swagger to being a gangster. You know what I mean? Like people were like the OGs were for the most part in silence. You didn't know who was the head of this, the capo of that,
Yeah.
and who you didn't know unless you were in the mafia and you had somebody like Sam the Bull just decided to talk about everything. But
Mm-hmm.
back then there was almost a swagger to it. Like, oh my gosh, he's an OG. I could respect that. I could respect the fact that he's in a gang because he doesn't carry himself like he's in a gang.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you got Takashi, who's like in his early 20s, throwing up the Bloods and Treyway, throwing up the rag everywhere he go. But then on top of that, he's not following certain guidelines that are set by said gang, like checking in and following protocol. You gotta check in with the OG of whatever city you go to, some bullshit like that. But he just tried to make it like, yeah, I'm a blood and I'm a rap about it. I got the icky with the blicky with the stiffy and this da 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 da. Da. Like, what does that mean in the end? Like, what does that mean? Now, you got your homeboy hemmed up. He's doing life. You got several
Right.
of your people locked up. They're doing heavy time. Meanwhile, you're going to be out in a little under 3 years. You're going to walk out of there, and then you have to disappear. You have to disappear because
Yeah, that's what I said.
Fat
He's
Joe
gonna fake
said
his death.
he can't come back to New York. He gotta go.
He's gonna fake his death, and
Well,
how
I
it's
mean,
gonna happen
who's
is it's
Fat
gonna
Joe to
be
sit there and say who can come where and go where? But still, uh,
he's gonna go out. He's gonna go out like how Joe Pesci did in Casino. That's what I'm thinking.
oh, that's my shit. Yeah,
They're gonna say we're gonna take you to witness protection, and he gonna find his ass in the sticks. Fucking
facts,
pop. Dig your own grave.
ain't
That's what
it?
they're gonna tell.
Where they go to
I
Vegas
mean,
to bury their problems, and a lot of problems are buried in those holes.
mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
I mean,
facts.
I just, I still ask myself today, did people really think that he was a legit gang, like he was the real deal? I mean, did people really buy into this?
I didn't.
I
I
think he
mean,
was an informant.
I
I've
mean,
always thought he
not
was an
even that. I
informant.
mean, he's going around. I mean, you look at him and you compare him to, you know, Dre, Easy E, Biggie. You compare him to any of these old school people. Like you said, they weren't. I mean, they were what they were. You knew them, but I mean, if you're talking about just walking the streets or whatever the case is, people profile. They weren't trying to draw attention to themselves. It was different. You look at Takashi. I mean, that's what the 20th century, 21st century gangster is. And did people really buy into this? I
Mm-hmm.
mean,
These damn kids.
to a point where you expose your behavior to someone like him. Now he has a. Did anyone really think he wasn't going to snitch
Right.
Well,
when he got
That
squeezed?
now
Did
that
you
was the
really
now
think
that
he
was
was
the
going to get his
question.
mouth down?
That was the question that needed answers. Like, did you really think this was gonna go very far? Did you really think he was gonna make it far in his career doing what he was doing?
yeah,
No.
because social media. I think social media made it like a lot of these kids. Like I'm like, first of all, when we was kids and we had hustles and we did our thing. We didn't advertise that shit. We didn't
You did
hold
your
up
dirt
bands to our
quietly.
ear.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you moved in silence, and it's like now it's like everybody wants to prove that they're gangster with a hashtag, and I'm like, yo, like that's not it. Like I'm more gangster than half of these dudes. You know what I'm saying? Like you had businesses, like you had legit businesses to like kind of mask your other shit that you was doing. You always had a legit business so you can be able to wash your money and say, yeah, this is all coming in from my club. This is
Mm-hmm.
my little club I got. It's an open mic type shit. I am not putting this out there, guys. I'm not self snitching. No, I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm.
You had a club and you did your shit in the club in the basement. Like Tony Soprano did. It was a strip club and all, but nowadays these idiots like they put their mixtape and then they show all the drugs and the guns and all. I'm like, what the fuck do you
Exactly.
think is
Like
gonna
like like
happen?
compare the music videos from the 80s and 90s to now. Back when gangster rap in its inception, when you had Ice T, 6 in the morning and all those hits. You might have
Hmm.
seen maybe in a group of 6 videos, you might have seen a bunch of 40 ounces. You might have seen some scantily clad girls they call skeezers. But you ain't never seen the whole crew. Yeah, I'm taking it back. Y'all remember skeezers. And that's how old we are. Skeezers.
You're a skeezer.
You, a skio, a ski bop, yeah, but you're one of those. And not the whole crew didn't have guns in their hands waving it around. You didn't see
Yeah, they
that.
didn't do that.
Now everybody got the AK, the little fake prop gun, all in front of the camera. and the way they're holding it, like they're scared to touch it with their index and thumb. They're sitting there waving a handgun with the extendo clip, and they got a
with
revolver
the
with a
Amazon, with the Amazon money, the Hollywood money, they
the
got them
wish
stacked.
money. Yeah, the wish
Yeah.
money. Stacks of
I
hundred
mean, what?
dollar bills up to their ear, honey. You live in such and such projects. There's no way in hell you've got that money. You
Yeah.
know that's props. We know that's props.
But there
Yeah,
was a
they
point in time. I
But I
mean, there was a
digress.
point in time, even when I was growing up, that we all growing up, where that's what the attraction was. You
Mm-hmm.
watch music videos. What was it? You had to have the Uptown that had the Gucci on it. You had to have the
The
fitteds. You had to
flashy
have the
car.
yeah. You had
Mm-hmm.
a car that had the spinning rims. You had to have the caddy. You had to have the H2
Wasn't
Hummer.
that a cute?
You,
That wasn't that a quick little lick? Spinning rims.
Yep.
yeah.
Wasn't that a lick?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you had to have the waves. You like, I remember I used to have waves. Everyone had waves. You had to, you weren't if you weren't spinning, you weren't in. Then
Mm-hmm.
it just like so many different things that people were so focused on. I mean, and those were the things you used to get bullied on. I mean, even the type of fitted you had, if it was like not new era. My friends used to be like, "Oh, he don't got a fitted, he got a bitted." Like, what are you doing here? Like, you getting it from downtown China, like
Yo, he got his hat at the
Chinatown.
store around the street.
Yeah.
What was that thing? What was that she said with the warthog? They said that was the Pumbaa.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
You wasn't rocking no Puma. You was rocking Pumbaa, nigga.
You were wearing Pumbaa.
You were rocking
You
Pumbaa.
needed to have the Kango hat. Like, remember that was a phase.
Like there was
You
a
know.
certain, like when you watch those videos, there was a certain status. Like you wanted to be a part of whatever was in that video. Minus the minus the sluts, but you wanted to
Why?
be.
Whoa. Time out. Why minus the sluts?
I'm a woman. What the hell am
Right.
I going to do with a bunch of titties? Like I got my own. Thank you. Uh, like
Exactly.
what am I going to do with this
Touche.
girl bent over in my face? She can leave. Goodbye. Thank you.
Send us
And
to
then we
Carlitos. Send us to Carlitos' way.
Yeah,
I'll take
send him
care of
over there to Carlito over there. I'm sure he will make good use of him. Send him over there next door. But
so they also had the BET cuts and they had all that
oh,
stuff.
BET uncut. If they were to
You know,
bring that
you
back
had Cartoon
now,
Network. You had Cartoon Network on the last channel. So when your parents walked in, you
yeah,
hit last.
yeah. But like, what you watching?
I
SpongeBob?
wasn't watching no Cheeks. I wasn't watching Cheeks. I was watching the Chipmunks. Alvin and
Nah.
Chipmunks.
Turn that TV off. Okay,
But to
turn
your
it down.
point,
And you turn it down real low. You never turn that TV off. You just turn it down real low. And you put the
Yeah, you
you put the
did.
caption on the video so you know what the words were because you couldn't say them out loud. And you put the caption on so you knew what the words were, and then you look up from the caption and see the girls jiggling and all this extra. Yeah, back then it was a totally different. It was a totally different thing. I miss those
how about
times.
Yeah.
taking it? How about taking it a step even further back, where you had to record the thing on the cassette player,
Oh
and then you
yeah,
had to pause in between, write down the lyrics, go back, and then this is all before before everything.
yeah. I remember all of that. Yeah,
Your
yes.
mixtape
Right.
was called a cassette tape.
Yeah, we had, and then you had to pause it right before the DJ started talking because back then we
Yep.
had DJs and they will butt in. This is KW blah 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 97.1 on
Yep.
the radio. You've just been listening to. Yeah, you got to cut all that off. Nobody cares. Nobody cares.
You had to pause. You had to pause it. You had to
You
pause
had
it
to
so you
pause
can
it
actually.
real quick.
Yeah.
People were astute back then.
Because even then you would hear like a song like I used to have this one favorite song that I had on every single mixtape, and I had to hurry up and be by the pause button because I knew at a certain part the DJ would start coming on and talking. So at the end of the song you hear zip because I had to hurry up and pause it. Zip. I had to hurry up and pause
Right.
it, or I'll stop the tape, rewind it just enough, and then stop it,
Mhm.
hit pause, hit my record, and wait, and then wait for the next one.
Right.
I mean, those kids, and these young adults today would never know the stress, the struggle of finding and doing mixtapes. Now everything's on YouTube. All they gotta do is download the shit.
I mean, they
Mm-hmm.
don't even know they don't even know the meaning of what a double A battery meant to us when we were walking around with a Walkman or a CD player. I mean, it's
Man,
just
that no skip was a bunch of bullshit. It still
yeah.
skipped.
Oh yeah, especially if you were running or something.
Shit. I gotta stop. I gotta stop. And don't let your battery run dead like towards a good song. And you said like, no, 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 I don't have any batteries. Like you have to walk around with batteries in your pocket. Like what the hell is that? Like
And then you always had like one Energizer and one Duracell because you were
and
just hoping that one
That
had more a
Duracell was
little bit of juice.
Nah,
dead as shit. But that Energizer
nah,
had a little something.
not unless you put it in the freezer. For some reason, you put it in the
Yeah.
freezer. I don't know the science, but it used to give us like 20 more minutes.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Like you got a few more minutes of juice. I just need to get to the store. I just need to get to the store so I can get some more batteries and then I'm good.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then what I used to do is if I knew my batteries were running dead, all I had to do was listen to two songs. It took me exactly 8 minutes from my house to the store. I had to find two songs that I liked that took up the 8 minutes. So I wouldn't be walking around like a doof with my headphones on and no music because my batteries were dead. I'm like, all right, this is what I got to do. And it cut right halfway down the block. I'm like, oh, shit. Turn around,
They'll
go back
never,
home.
Right.
they'll, they'll never know. They'll
They will
never
never
know.
know. Now everybody's got cell phones and battery packs, and just imagine if we had those chargeable battery packs, hooked to our CD players.
Or a boombox.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
I had the little 3 piece deal, the detachable speakers with the tuner in the middle. I tried to freak that shit, made it look all cool, like I had surround sound. Yeah, that was that
Trying
was
to hang it on the wall. Trying to hang
tried
it on the wall or something.
try to hang the speakers up and you hit the wall one time that speaker bloop like shit. And you said you got nail holes all in your wall trying to hang up your speakers.
There goes the security deposit.
Did not
For
tell you not to
real.
have put so many holes in these damn walls. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
stuff we did as a kid. We even as a young adult,
I,
like it's
I just feel it was fun. I just
it
feel it was
was
fun. I just
it was
feel
a more
like
fun time back then.
I just feel like we, whether you were doing like super soaking, double dutch for the girls, freeze tag, hopscotch, like
I can go
you know,
get
there
it.
was, there
Mm-hmm.
it was a
Mm-hmm.
punishment to keep you from going outside. Now it's like you gotta give them an incentive to go outside. It's like people don't. I don't know. It's just I just feel like it was a different time. And I don't know. I just
Like we went
sometimes I feel like it
outside
needs to
and
come back.
we used to go outside and get dirty. We would go outside and skin our knee. Now you got these kids, these girls that are too good to. I can't mess my hair up, and these boys that got so damn pretty. I can't ruin these shoes. Oh my gosh, they're $230. We didn't give a shit about no $70 shoes. They scuffed up, fucked up, busted. We didn't care
Exactly.
because we were kids doing kid shit.
Oh my god, yeah.
And
But
it's not like that anymore. Unfortunately, it's not like that.
and the discipline, oh
We,
my goodness. Discipline nowadays, talk to your children. Sit them down and talk to them. Be be their friend and understand why they're acting bad and why they're about to get their damn throat chopped because they decide to act up in school, but you can't hit them because CPS will be on your ass in about 5.3 seconds the minute you lay eyes
yeah,
on your child. Back then, it was no problem.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
You
When we were
can't do
growing,
nothing.
when we were growing up, our grandmother had a name for the belt that she would whoop us with.
Oh,
Charlie,
His name was
Charlie.
Charlie. Charlie.
go get
And,
Charlie.
and Charlie, let me just give you the image. Charlie was three essentially cowboy belts wrapped entwined into one that had one of those thick blue rubber bands,
Oh,
the like industrial strength
oh,
rubber
she was trying
bands
to kill y'all. Damn.
that was strapped to the bottom. So anytime
Woo.
we were acting up, and we were the Three Musketeers, it was like one of us acted up, we all were getting it.
Yeah, we
and
all
my
got our
Ah.
grandmother
ass beat.
and my grandmother would be like, "Oh, y'all want to keep playing games? Where's Charlie?" She go, "We're like, we knew we were in for
No.
it." And
Who tried to hide the strap? Who tried to hide it? Who was the one that would try to hide it?
Oh,
no, we weren't
there
brave
was no
enough.
hiding. There was no hiding the strap. You just knew
You
that if
knew.
you were told to get the strap, that there was some ancestral slave hymns
Hmm.
that would immediately start playing because you
Hmm.
knew it was a rap. It was a rap, and Car- Carlito used to start crying, and my grandma would be like, she'd be like, "I didn't even hit you yet."
Right. Cause you
She said,
already
cut
know what's
that
about
cry.
to go down. You already know what's
She
about to
said,
go
cut
down.
that. Yo, she said, cut that crying out, or I'll give you something to cry about. That's.
Yep.
And as soon as you
I'm like,
heard that, you turned the water on. Ah,
yeah.
you turned it on.
Yo, you're like, I gotta call a plumber. I got a flood coming through.
But this is the thing too. Like in today's world, if you're a parent and you're beating your kid's ass, that's cool. Whatever you got to do to keep them in line. But y'all really should not be like putting that shit on social media like that. First of all, it's embarrassing to the kid. Like you
Yeah.
already getting your ass beat. That's embarrassing, and your neighbors hear that shit.
Well,
But
that's
then
why
you
you
gonna
got
put
so
that.
many. That's why you got so many armchair therapists now telling you, "Well, don't hit them. Talk to them. You come talk to them and see how that works."
Yeah,
Yep.
like it don't work like that. Everybody's kid is a nightmare somewhere. But
Hmm.
I always say like nowadays it's like we got to keep certain things off social media, and parents think it's so cute, and I'm like, so you want to showcase to the world that you're a failure as a parent because your child is not in check, so you want to
Hmm.
show and embarrass your kid because your kid snuck out, or your kid don't like technically doesn't respect you, so the only way that they can respect you is if you beat their ass. Like that's just not a good look for me. Like what I see in social media, parents don't need to be disciplining their kids as if it's an audience type thing. Like it's just not right. You also you discipline your kid, you teach them, the ways of where they fucked up at and why they can't do that again. And then after that, you hope that the lesson was received. But
Hmm.
we don't need to see that shit. I personally
Yeah.
don't want to see
Keep
nobody
that at
beating their
home.
kid.
Keep that at
Yeah,
home.
don't, because then if CPS comes knocking on your door, I'm gonna tell you, you kind of deserve it because you advertise that you are a parent that cannot control your child.
There was this one video that I saw. It was maybe a couple years back. There was this mother who came home. Uh, this mother who came home from work, and her daughter, had a little boy in the house. You know damn well you're not allowed to have company if mama ain't home. But she
Mm-hmm.
thought that she was gonna, you know, she was gonna get by with it, and she caught the little boy. They were on the sofa, kissing and touching and all this extra stuff. So she said, "Oh, so you just want to bring little boys?" And she got the little brother to record everything. For some reason, that was the go-to. She was like, keep the phone up, keep the camera up. I want you to see this. I want y'all to see this. So y'all just gonna have people all up in my house while I'm not here? Look at you, can't even take care of yourself. You halfway. I mean, embarrassing the girl in front of her little company. You don't even wipe your ass. Come and look at this bathroom. Come look at this bathroom. Why do you have pads all over the
Mm-hmm.
floor? You don't know how to clean yourself, and you got a nerve to have a boy over here. Does he know that you nasty? Does he know? I mean, really laying into her, and the little girl just standing there like, what can I do? Like I can die right now. Like
Yeah, that's
you don't
wrong.
do that.
You don't embarrass your kids, and especially on social
And
media.
you
Like
don't
you
bring
you
your
just
other children into it because your other children ain't got nothing to do with it.
yeah, they really don't. They don't put that stress on them because like I think like siblings are supposed to look out for each other regardless if that other sibling did wrong. I always held it down as much as I could, even though my mom knew like, bitch, you ain't that kind of like you ain't hard, to be doing that. Like I know you covering, but I'm like, I, if my siblings got in trouble, I'm gonna get in trouble with them, and I'm gonna take the L with them because I should have done better as far as like as a sister. You know what I mean?
And see, I grew up without brothers and sisters, so it was just me and some of my close cousins. And of course, I'm the oldest out of the close ones, and I was always the babysitter, the one that had to, keep shit in check and keep things in line. Ain't nobody listening to me. But, you know, when one got in trouble, it was like, all right, Shannon, what happened? What you mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
ask them. They're the ones that's fighting, not me. I'm playing along with them.
Mhm.
Right.
Like, why have I got to
Right.
be the babysitter, the referee, the mom? I'm not babysitting nobody. Like, I don't have brothers and sisters to look out for. Like, these kids did what they wanted, and I just happened to get caught in the middle. And of course, because I was the oldest, I got scolded. Well, you're the oldest. Da 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 da. Yeah, but
Yeah, like you should know better.
I'm a child. I didn't do anything. I did know better. I did nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine if you went around and said, "Hey, they ain't my damn kids."
Man, fuck them
I'm
kids.
just
Like,
watching.
facts. Straight up,
You know?
man, fuck them kids. They not mine. Like, what? But anyway,
I ain't bring them into this world.
y'all had them, not me. Why am I watching them? Like, you paying me? Like, what's up?
Am I, am I getting paid?
Yeah, like, am I getting some type
we
of
feed
allowance for watching your badass children?
we
Of
feeding
course not.
you, right?
I hate that shit.
I know, right?
Like, can I have an allowance? I allow you to live in this house. That's what I'm asking. I didn't ask for this. I need some money. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I allow you to live here. I allow you to eat the food in this house. I allow you to watch TV. Yeah, well, that's fine and all. I'm talking about monetary. Like, what's going on with that? What's going on in that department? Can we talk about the what she said? We like the kind of jingles, but we'd rather get the kind of folds. I'm talking about that.
Yeah.
Can we talk about that for a couple minutes? Like, I ain't talking about this light bill, and I ain't worried about bills. I'm like 12. What do I care about bills?
Like this shit ain't got nothing to do with me.
This and now 20 years later, it's like the damn light bill again. Shit.
Like, damn, mom, I didn't know that the bills was like that. Like when we asked our parents, like, mom, can I get $20? I ain't got it. They was serious, and I
No,
get
they
it
was
now.
dead ass. Oh yeah, we get
They,
it. I definitely get that.
yeah,
There was
Gina gonna
there was this
Gina.
there was this little comedian does these like little skits on YouTube and social media, and they were doing one that was pertaining to Christmas time coming around, and the father, I guess, in the background that he does the voices or whatever for everybody, and he had a Christmas list, and she said, "Oh, so I got your Christmas list." He said, "Yo, son, why don't you go over there and check that refrigerator for me? Open that door up real quick." And then you go over there. He said, "You see food in there?" He said, "Yeah." "Oh, okay." He said, "Why don't you go on and flip that light switch over there? You got light? Okay." He said, "How's the temperature in here? Go ahead, turn that gauge up. You warm?" He said, "What is this Christmas list? I give you food, I give you water. It's Christmas every day."
Facts. Every day is Christmas. Yes. Be faithful for what you get. Yes.
Exactly.
I remember I was walking down 7th Avenue. It was the big snow of 1912. I had
Oh my
nothing
God.
but paper bags walking 20 miles to school.
And you want to complain because you ain't
You
got
won't
this?
complain.
Yeah, right. Uh, yeah.
I would go back to that. I'd be like, listen, I actually checked the weather report back in 1912. There was no snow. It was actually a heat wave. But,
Yeah, go off. Yeah, but go off. What do I know?
Please continue.
Yeah, continue. What do I know? I'm just a kid. Whatever.
Yeah.
I'm stupid.
I'm just a kid with the internet, but whatever.
Oh,
Yeah.
goodness. Uh, do we have a rant tonight, Minx?
Well, my rant I would say would be from the beginning about I'm not gonna say rant. I'm just gonna say I got some spiritual jewels for y'all. Um, so my spiritual jewels for y'all today is I want you guys to reflect and don't allow the media to control your emotions. I want you guys to understand that there are terrible things that are going on all around the world. If you're a person that likes to do research and you're into the whole conspiracy shit, just remember to detox from that, because some information is real, other information is just designed to scare you because of misinformation. I want you guys to go to your loved ones, Spend time with your loved ones and just understand that life is short. Do everything that you want to do, vibrate higher, manifest your destiny, and just love life. That's my spiritual jewels for today.
All right. I
Love
like
it.
that. Yeah, that's our new segment called Minx's Memo. Cause every time, every around this time, close towards the end of the show, she either gives out some jewels, she goes on a rant. I love her rants, or in this case, her rants just pure gold. I love it. I love it. Follow
I
her.
appreciate.
Follow her on Twitter at female producer. I'm telling you, you're gonna get a kick out of some of the shit that I man, some of the stuff I've been reading. Them little kids be coming after you.
For no reason.
You like, I'm monetized. I don't have to talk to you. Like, oops, shade.
Yeah, talk. I'm like, you want to talk to me? Talk to me on my platform that I get paid on ads for.
Yeah,
Kiss my ads.
you want to talk to me? That's $50, bitch. Like, wait a minute.
Exactly.
Calm
That's how you got to
I
do
could
it.
think of another. I could think of another way I could spend $50, but I digress.
quit,
Carlito's crazy.
quit giving it to strippers. Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking of a little street called Hunts Point, but we'll leave that for now.
You gonna come out of there with the coronavirus shit.
You come on with
Well,
some type
some
of
sort of
virus. You
virus.
better
I don't
keep it
know if it's
together.
Corona.
Yeah, you better keep it together.
Yeah.
Better double bag. Better double bag your groceries if you know what I'm saying.
You
Right.
know,
Hmm. All
paper
right.
or plastic.
Plastic,
We'll leave. We'll
rubber,
figure it out next
latex,
time.
whatever. Do what you gotta do. Just wrap that shit up. Sheesh. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of our show. I want to thank everybody for tuning in with us tonight. Our listeners, I want to thank Carlito28 for checking in and chapping it up with us tonight. It's been very, very interesting. Like I like talks like this. It's
Yeah.
motivating.
Me
I
too.
love that. But please come back anytime. You're more than welcome. You can also co-host with us if you would like to. Um, we're here Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. to 9, whenever, because we just be talking
Yeah.
about some bullshit. Uh,
Yeah.
tomorrow
And
is
welcome to Stationhead. Welcome
yes,
to
and
Stationhead.
welcome Station Head. Yay.
Mm.
Um, let's see. Tomorrow is my mother's birthday, so I will not be doing the show tomorrow. We will be back on the pavement on unemployment tomorrow night, but we will.
Well, I'll probably hop on and spin some tracks and talk to anybody that wants to have a chit chat.
All right. Well, I'll probably peep y'all later on in the day. Yeah, tomorrow's my mommy's birthday and all, so we're gonna
Shout
hang
out
out.
to Mama
I think
Dukes.
Out to your mom. Happy birthday, Ma
well,
Dukes.
I gave her my code, so she ain't doing too much shit right now.
Oh,
The gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah.
See, we Libras love to share. Anyway, she's an Aquarius.
exactly.
She's an Aquarius, by the way.
Uh oh.
Yeah, right. See, you get it. Hey, Minx, what were you?
Aries.
Mm, makes
That's
sense.
how we get along. We're all fire signs. We're all fire signs.
It makes a lot of sense. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go ahead and stop this live stream because social media be flagging my shit and I ain't got time. So I want to thank everybody on Twitch, D Live, and Periscope for tuning in. I'm going to go ahead and stop you right here. And for